Welcome back, eSIM Studios. We are live on this Friday afternoon. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm trying a new streaming platform, so give me just 1 second. I'm trying to get this thing set up on the TikTok as well. For some reason, TikTok is in their own little world when it comes to live streaming. So let me find this link so I can share it. I think I just got it live just right now, and we will get started here in just a second. Let's see. Here we go. Let me copy this. How's everybody doing today? Apologize for not going live the last few days. I've been hard at work trying to hammer out this new application that I just uploaded to the Google Play console, which is where developers upload their applications to get published on the Play Store. So it's a lot of work, but finally got it submitted, and now getting it submitted is one thing, getting it approved is a completely other thing. So we should be fine though. May take a week, probably a few weeks, but we got another application, and it's pretty cool. I'll give me just a second, and I'll let you know what's going on with that. Let's see. All right, I think we're about ready. Okay. I think we are good. Can everybody hear me okay? Let's see. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Welcome back, eSIM. We are good. Okay. So this is what we got going on. So let me music getting too loud? Can everybody hear me okay? Let's see. Sounds good. Okay. No more no more checking. We're good. It's time to go. Okay, so check this out. This new app that I got published to the Play Store. So what it involves, what it entails is, so there's a lot, as you know, I'm sure you've seen some of those fake phone videos on YouTube. They're actually getting really freaking good at it. Just in the last 12 months, you could kind of tell a fake phone from a real phone. Now, obviously, there's a lot more fake iPhones than Android phones, and I'm currently in the middle of pushing my app to the Apple App Store. But the app that I got pushed to the Play Store is for Android phones. And there's some videos out there where you have a fake S26 Ultra and a real S26 Ultra, and even somebody like me that has a keen eye for knowing exactly what to look for to see if it's fake or not. Because look, I buy phones all the time off the internet, meaning like not on Amazon or eBay, but like actually in person, like Facebook Marketplace. Hey, let's meet up here. Are you good to go in an hour? And you go meet up with them, right? Now I take that back. Somebody tried to sell me a fake S21 Ultra, I think. And I knew something was off right at the beginning. I was like, something is just not right. Verified the IMEI number, and well, it denied the IMEI number. But after a while, I was like, something just doesn't feel right. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, there's not an app that can just tell me if it's fake or not, is there? And I did some more research, and there's really not. So I was like, well, hello. You know, that's kind of like your lane, right? Because you can always make an app. You can always make a game. Well, there's literally a million games on the Play Store. Chances of your app doing well is probably not good. But then I was like, well, you need to fill a void, right? And that goes with any industry, any business, right? If there's a market for something, but there's no product and or service for that want and or need, well, good idea to probably get that filled, right? So I was like, so there's not an app out there. So what I did was I said, well, shit, let's make an app. And I've been hard at work the last few weeks, specifically the last few days. That's why I've kind of been offline for the last few days. trying to get this thing. I want to get this thing uploaded, published, and ready to go. So what it is it verifies. It's called Device Authenticator, and it authenticates your device. How cool is that? So I know it might be a pain in the ass when you do meet up with somebody. Be like, yo, can you give me a few minutes? I need to sign in, right? Because sometimes when you meet up with somebody, you don't have Wi-Fi, so you got to put your SIM card in there. Well, you can use the data. Just tell them, look, if you want me to buy a friggin' $600 phone, you got to give me a few minutes, okay? Put your SIM card in there, connect to Wi-Fi. If you're at a Starbucks, sign into the Play Store, and then download my app, and then simply see if it's a real device or not. It'll tell you right off of the bat. So we got that going. I think it's a really good idea, and I can't believe that really hasn't, at least in the Android world. And again, there's a lot more fake iPhones than fake Android phones, but the fake Android phones like the S26 Ultra, as I mentioned earlier, there's quite a few out there right now. So you never know. And look, you can honestly buy these fake Samsungs in China or on websites from China, and you can get them for like $200, and then you flip it for a real S26 Ultra for $800. That's a $600 profit. Like, I know there's people out here doing that. So it sucks, but that's why we got the app. So we have a lot of news to talk about today. A ton of news to talk about today. We have a lot. So we have a huge Pixel 11 series leak. I know there's a lot of Pixel users that are subscribed to my channel. Essentially everything leaked. So we have official renders, and I know some of the colors leaked. Well, we now have official renders of what they look like, the colors. We have Z Fold 8 news. Plenty of that stuff going around. And bad news for nothing. Once again, see, this is sort of trending just like OnePlus. Unfortunately, they're going down apparently the same path. So let's see here. Hey, what's going on? Thank you for joining us today. Let's see. So let me share my screen, and we shall get going. And I still have more apps to come. I've been on like an app binge lately, so I got a wallpaper app coming, which will be fun. But let's go ahead and get into. Let me share my screen here. Okay. So let's see here. Let's take a look at the Pixel 11 news whoops. Me having 4 monitors up here is not that helpful. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to news. And I think everybody saw my short and/or vertical video in regards to the Pixel Glow. There's been a few comments saying, I don't care about that. I've had a few comments saying it's a gimmick. I've had a few comments saying, wow, that's really cool. So I, for one, think it's cool, but is it like a selling point where it's like, oh my God, this complete new revelation of technology? No, but it's cool, right? I mean, it gives you something a little extra to customize in. Technically, I know a lot of people are going to say it's a gimmick, but is it? Because it's actually real functionality. Like, I used to be one of those people back with the Nexus 5, with the Nexus 4, with the Nexus 5X. They would have the little notification dot on the top part of the screen, sort of like where your speaker is. On the phones that are like 10 years old, they're doing a really good job now of hiding that little tiny speaker grill. Well, 10 years ago, it actually used to be like a tiny strip, right? And with one of those speaker grills, one of those couple hundreds of dots in those speaker grills so the sound can go through it. They would put a notification dot in one of those teeny tiny holes, and it would let you know. You could customize it, right? It's good. It's good. Same theory with the Pixel Glow on the back of the phone now. I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's a real thing. Like, you'll be able to customize it, flash, colors when somebody's calling. I think it's cool because me, for one, I always have my phone face down. It's not because I'm trying to hide stuff. It's because I love the way phones look. I just love the designs of different phones, so I like to look at them. So I like to lay the phone face down with the backside facing up. Well, this will give anybody a perfect opportunity who does the same thing to customize, so you know who just texted you, so you know who's calling. All right, I think that's kind of what it's going to be for. And look, I'm sure it'll do some nothing stuff where it'll show like a rotating bezel or rotating glow once you're doing a Gemini Google search or whatever. But I think it's cool. All right, so let's see here. We have, where was this article? So getting into Pixel Glow, we did that. So you're starting to see a lot more leaks from Google for these Pixel devices. You wonder why? Well, it's because Samsung just launched their foldables. So Google is leaking their own stuff to try to get out in front of potential buyers like you and I of the Samsung foldables, because I still haven't purchased anything yet. I plan on doing that, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But I haven't purchased anything yet as of this minute. I am during the pre-order. I just taking my time. But Google wants you and me to remember, those of y'all that are on the fence like I am, they want you to say, or they want you to think, oh yeah, I forgot Google's coming out. I forgot Pixel's going to be launching in just a few weeks. They want you to know that, so you potentially won't buy a Samsung foldable and you're just saying, screw it, I'm just going to wait a few weeks for the new Pixel. They're hoping you say that. They're hoping you think that. And with this new foldable, the Google Pixel 11 Pro Fold, it's going to look similar to the previous Pixel Fold devices, but it's just much more refined. And I think you see that across mobile technology. You see that with the Z Flip 8. They essentially, it's the same phone. They just really refined it. So same thing with the Pixel series. Pixel 11's essentially like the Pixel 10. They just did some minor touches here and there and really refined it. But the Pixel 11 Pro Fold is going to have the Pixel Glow on the back there. But this one looks like it's even thinner than last year. So it's going to have, I believe, right around the same height and width. It's going to be thinner is what I mean. But the overall dimensions are essentially going to be the same. Same size display on the front, same size display on the inside, same cameras, I believe. And the camera housing is going to have that Pixel Glow. It just got a little thinner, which is always good unless you want a bigger battery. But here are some official renders. If I can get out of this stupid sign up page. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Here, check this out. Here's a little trick that I'm going to try. Put it in reading mode. But then will it show the pictures? Well, screw it. You get the point. You saw it right there. It's a little thinner. Here, maybe this will work. So here we go. So here is the Google Pixel 11 Pro Fold with Pixel Glow. And you can see here on the right side, it looks a little thinner. And it was already a fairly thin phone. Not as thin as the Fold 7 and now Fold 8, but it's just a hair thicker. Now, I don't believe Google's going to move to silicon carbon batteries. And I've never had a foldable. Just, just not for me. But if you are interested, now here's the thing: the Google Pixel 11 Pro Fold is going to have cameras that blow it, not even a comparison with the Z Fold 8 and or Z Fold 8 Ultra. Not even a comparison. Pixel this year, not only with the Fold series, but the Pixel 11, I believe, is going to get back to its camera supremacy. I honestly believe that this year. Google has had a couple of years here, maybe 3 years, where seemingly the competition has caught up as far as camera quality, overall quality. Pixel used to be far and away the best camera phone, and it seemed like over the last couple of years, everybody's caught up. But I think this year they're taking an all new step. They're getting all new camera hardware, all brand new sensors, and from what I hear, it's stunning. Like it's going to blow you away. And that's exactly why people buy Pixels, is because of the nice, easy to use software and cameras that blow you away. So I really believe they're going to get back to that. So let's take a look at the colors, since we just took a look at the Fold, since it's a little thinner. Let me show you what we got here. So here is another view of the Pixel 11 series, Pixel 11 Pro, Pixel 11 Pro Fold, and the Pixel Watch. Now, this has some software on it, so they're going to refine their software a little bit, right? If nobody's used a Pixel, I used to say it's stock Android, meaning like just ASOP, stock Android, but it's really not now. It's really, but you can't, there's really nothing using stock Android. So this is Pixel's version of stock Android, where they put a little more refinements. And look, they've come a long way with customization with Pixel software. I just think people get bored too quick with Pixels because they're too simple. You see what I'm saying? Like Samsung, you can customize your phone to high heaven. Even OnePlus, you can customize it. Motorola is similar because it uses stock Android. It has a similar Pixel user interface where it's essentially Pixel software, except on Motorola phones, you can customize it even more than what you can on Pixel. And that's one area where they've come a long way, because think about it. For those Pixel users out there, like myself, that have had every one, think about using the Pixel 5, Pixel 6, Pixel 7 series. Pretty friggin' basic. Like, you couldn't even change the icons. You couldn't even theme it. Like there were so many limitations on Pixels back in the day. And I think they know that. I think they know that they're losing customers to Samsung, right? Because there's people that maybe they're bored with Pixel, like I have in the past, but I'm not an iPhone. I'm definitely not switching to an iPhone. Well, what's your next best bet? Now, if you're in America, you really don't have many options, but Samsung's usually the no-brainer choice. They know they've been losing customers due to going to Samsung. And one of those reasons, well, it's kind of boring. But over this last year or so, they've really added some features, some customizations, some theming options that you can do to these Pixels. And if you've never used one, I really think at this point, I think with the Pixel 11, minus my gripes about the Pixel, don't listen to me because I'm very, very picky when it comes to my devices and my operating systems. I may bitch a lot about Pixels, right? You may hear me dog on them quite a bit, but it's out of love. It's out of frustration. I love Pixels so much that it bothers me deep down inside that they do one or two things that I just am vehemently against, right? And that's the 200 charging cycle limit. Once you go past 200 charging cycles, they cut the charging speeds in half and limit your battery capacity to 80%. Yeah, that's a real thing. So that's that one, and it's not an option, right? It'd be one thing if it was an option in your settings, in your battery settings, but it's not. It's mandatory. And that's like the one thing where I draw the line. Because after 6 months of use, after 200 charges, it's essentially not even usable. My Pixel 10 Pro has been sitting in the drawer for 6 months. Like, I'm just not, it takes 2 hours to charge, really? Like, no, I'll pass. But if you're not concerned about that, then who cares, right? I know I'm not the average person. I'm very picky, like as I mentioned. But overall, the Pixel 11 is going to be a great phone. Mark my words. I know a lot of people watching might not be Pixel fans, but those of you that are Pixel fans, or those of y'all that are like, I've thought about a Pixel, but just never really pulled the trigger on buying one, I think if you give this Pixel 11 series, give it a chance, I think you're going to like it. I think this is the very best smartphone design coming straight from the manufacturer. So you're getting hardware. This is I hate to say it, this is the iPhone of Android. You're getting the hardware and the software straight from the manufacturer, right? Because Samsung, you get the hardware from Samsung, but technically it's running Android, which is a Google-owned product. So you get updates faster. Typically you get, dare I say, refinements faster. Although Pixel has had their struggles, let's not lie here, right? But it's going to be a good phone. I think the battery life is going to get better, even though they're not putting silicon carbon batteries in there. I've gone over it before, right? You're getting they're bringing it this year. Google, you're going to be the very first device on the planet to have a 2 nanometer chipset, a 2 nanometer CPU. Very, very efficient and very, I was about to say powerful. I've been having Samsung and Qualcomm in my head all day. Not going to be the most powerful, but it will be very efficient. It is technically the first 2 nanometer chipset on the earth being released officially. And you're getting the all new M16 OLED panel. Now, I know most of y'all aren't nerds like I am, but what is that M16 OLED panel from Samsung? What's so special about it? Well, it's mad efficient too, meaning it barely uses any power and it gets very, very bright. And their Actua displays are very colorful. So you're going to get a much more efficient CPU, a much more efficient OLED panel display. And the very last thing, the icing on top, is the new modem, the M90 MediaTek modem. They've used Samsung Exynos modems in the past for the last few years, and they blow. They suck. In fact, that was the cause of a lot of people's battery drains, is because the modem wasn't that good, so it was always searching for a signal, and it was just chewing up the battery. This year, the MediaTek, the M90 modem, and the modem is what connects you to carrier network services. It's very, very strong. It's actually like basically neck and neck with Qualcomm and their modem. That's how good it is. So with those three things, a new modem, that's more efficient, not always going to be searching for a signal. It's going to lock onto that signal and hold on to it tight. You're getting a new OLED panel that's very efficient and a new CPU that's very efficient. So you should have really good battery life on these Pixels. You're going to get all new camera hardware. The cameras, I feel like, are going to blow people away. And you're going to get bold colors this year, something that Google traditionally doesn't do. And you're going to get a classic design. I love that Pixel design. So these are some snapshots from the software that are on the new Pixel 11 series. You know, looks pretty basic. Oh, one other thing for those of y'all out there watching on social media, one cool thing about Pixel is that it has a social media option in the settings, in the camera settings, where I forgot, it's been so long since I've used my Pixel, as I mentioned, it's been in the drawer for 6 months. There's a special that not many people know about. I've made a few videos on this in the past, and I'll do that again when the Pixel 11 comes out. It has a social media option in the camera settings that essentially brings the videos and pictures you upload to social media like TikTok, Instagram, brings it to life, right? Because we all know iPhone, unfortunately, is probably the best phone for social media just because all the social media applications are optimized very, very specifically just for iPhone. Well, the problem with Android is there's so many different Android manufacturers, is that there's just too many options for them to just really optimize these apps for, let's just say, one phone. Well, companies like Samsung, companies like Google have worked behind the scenes hand in hand with these social media companies. And there's actually a couple of settings buried deep within the camera application where you can turn them on. Now, they're off by default when you get the phone. Maybe when the Pixel 11 is launched and we will get one here in-house. I'll go through that and I'll show everybody what options you need to select just to make your uploads look nice, iPhone-like. But here are some of the software. Look, you've seen a Pixel operating system. You've seen them all. Really not no shockers here, right? But again, I think it's going to be a good phone. And I think people that have used Pixel in the past, I think are going to love this one. So these are official leaks. Let's see what else we got. We saw Pixel Glow. Let's expand these a little bit so everybody can see if that's possible. So it does look like it got a little thinner. This is the Fold. Now, this is not your book style Fold that the new Z Fold 8. This is the traditional Fold. And there's the Pixel Glow. Bringing back those two same colors that they had last year. So if you're a Fold user, kind of a bummer. You're not getting any new colors. Speaking of, nice big 8-inch display. You can do flex mode on here, which you cannot do on the Fold 8. I'm sure there'll be some third-party apps you could possibly download and install on a Samsung if you got the Fold 8 series for that. Well, let's see here. Let me show you the colors. What am I talking about here? So here are the colors. Let's see. Do any of these interest you? So here are the base Pixel 11 colors, meaning just the base model, not the Pros, just the base. And let me describe their color scheme when it comes to the base model and the Pro models. So typically in the past, the base models, just the regular Pixel 10, the Pixel 9, the upcoming Pixel 11, that's where Google historically puts the bold colors, the more vibrant colors is on the base model, and then they'll put the bland, boring colors on the Pro models. Doesn't really make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to anybody. But not only that, what Google has done in the past is the base Pixel 11 series, the base Pixel, Pixel 10, Pixel 9, have had a color wrap that wraps around the phone, around the side of the phone as well. Like the color here on the base Pixel 11s. So you would get the black color on the back, and then on the base models, you would get the black color on the mid-frame, on the border. And then with the Pro models, you get the boring, bland colors, but you get a chrome border. So the color does not wrap around the phone. Now, this year, it appears they've not necessarily flipped all of that, but it appears they're kind of changing things, which I guess is good. But they're giving you some not necessarily vibrant colors on the Pro models, but you're getting more color on the edges, on the sides, on the mid-frame, which I think is good. It just adds to the look and feel of the phone. Now let me pull this up real quick, and I'll show you exactly where the colors are. Because let's see, and we also got Pixel books we're going to look at here. Android, it's on Android Authority. Okay, so check this out. They got these stupid name, hibiscus and pistachio and all this stupid stuff. All right, so that's your base. We saw this picture earlier. Here's your base Pixel 11 right here. Now look at this. Now I know this is promotional material, but I want you to look at this photo. It's probably enhanced. Yeah, I get it, but check that out. So that's with the Pixel 11. That's at 30x, and it looks flawless. A still photo. So I think this year is going to be absolutely incredible. It looks like a real photo. You know, it looks like a photo they took and then they, you know, did this specifically for promotional stuff. And did they touch that up? Maybe. Did they enhance it with AI? Maybe. Did they sharpen it? Probably. But I've heard I've heard from a number of leaks, a number of people, a number of insiders. Everybody, there's a buzz around these cameras. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I'm just hearing bits and pieces of it wowing this person, and this person got a sneak peek and is shocked and is telling everybody about it. So I have a feeling they have something with these sensors, meaning I said earlier, I think this is the year Pixel gets back to their camera supremacy, right? Meaning like the very best camera phone. So I can't wait to see what they have in store. I really can't. This is at nighttime right here. I mean, it is what it is, but Google Maps. Now give us the pro colors. Where are the pro colors? You got to be kidding me. I had this all set up for Is this it? So here you get another look at Pixel 11 series. We all know what the Pixel brings, and it just brings an overall good experience. Now, if you're looking for the most powerful thing possible, not going to be your number one choice, but I'm going to say this again. 9 out of 10 people have no issues with Pixel. In fact, they love them. And I'm one of them. And again, it may seem like I shit on them a lot, but it's because I'm frustrated, right? They're not doing stuff on it that I want them to do on it. So it is what it is, but we are going to buy one. So we're getting one in the house. So we're going to be a part of the Pixel, continue our Pixel tradition of purchasing every Pixel, every Nexus ever made, and it'll continue. So we're going to cover this extensively the closer we get to August 12th. So if you're a Pixel fan, stay tuned to the channel. eSIM Studios, make sure you subscribe. So we're going to have everything. I cannot wait to test those cameras. Cannot wait. Nothing gets me like a good camera phone. And I know I've been criticized in the past for not doing more review videos or camera comparison videos. And I'm like, with what? All the cameras I have, they're good. Like, it's like it'll do, but nothing blows me away where I'm like, oh my God, I got to show these cameras. I have a feeling this Pixel is going to do it. And you know what? It's been years since I felt that way. And the very last phone that gave me that same feeling, a Pixel. So I think they got something special on their hands. So best of luck to Google and Team Pixel. I hope their sales go well. And speaking of sales, it appears that Z Fold 8 has sold out. It has sold out. Has absolutely sold out. So why did I minimize that? So let me bring this up. Let me show what I'm talking about. So I've gotten word, and we're going to check their Samsung's website because I check it every day. They're killing it. And I was wrong. I will admit I was 100% wrong. I thought out of these three phones, the Flip 8, the Fold 8, and the Fold 8 Ultra, I remember saying a couple weeks ago that their number one seller is going to be the Z Fold 8, which numbers show clearly it is. But where I was wrong is that I said that I believe Samsung is going to be shocked at how many few total devices they sell. Now that number I think is still to be determined, and we're just in the first week of pre-orders, right? So that, that could change. But one thing I know for sure Samsung is surprised at, they did not expect the Z Fold 8 to sell out during pre-order, and that's exactly what has happened. So the Z Fold 8 has surpassed their sales expectations, at least for pre-order. We'll have to see. And here's the thing, with a brand new phone, a brand new design, a brand new form factor, a lot of people buy them, but they, it's too weird. They can't get used to it. Maybe there's a very specific app that they love to use that they absolutely have to have on their phone. Maybe that app is not optimized for this form factor and they return it. So yeah, they can be happy now. They could sell 2 million Z Fold 8s during pre-order, but what if 500,000 people return them, right? Or, I was going to say half, but that would be a little much. What if a quarter returned it, or a fifth of the people returned it? That would be a huge number. These things are not cheap. These things are $2,000 a pop. So we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, that could sway one way or the other. I don't know how many people are going to return them, but I know some will for sure. And I've basically made my mind up. I'm going to get a Flip 8 because that's the one I'm more comfortable with. That's the one I personally love. It seems like I'm the only guy on the internet that that likes the Flip 8. I keep seeing all these Flip 8 videos and or reviews, and it's all girls that review. I'm like, when did this become a girl phone? Whatever. I'm going to get one because I love it. Now, we're still, I think, going to get the Fold 8. So I think we're going to get a Fold 8 and a Flip 8. My wife wants the Fold 8. So, yeah. So I think we're going to get both. So we're going to get the Fold 8 and the Flip 8. But I haven't ordered anything yet. But that's where I'm headed. I'll probably make up my mind like the very last day of pre-order. I already know I'm getting a Flip 8. I'm just kind of waiting for her to make her mind up. But I'm going to order at least one, possibly 2 phones here in this next week. Because I think there's, 6 days left? Something like that? 6 or 7 days left? So we shall see. But the Z Fold 8's selling out. So let's check their website real quick and see if there's any. It seems like nobody's buying the Flip because I've been looking at those on their website. It says, delivery August 7th, delivery August 7th, delivery August 7th. And which means there's no delay, right? But on the Fold series, there is a delay. So 6 days left. So let's see. Is that the Ultra? No, I don't want. Nobody wants the Ultra. Let's see here. So just for the 256. Yikes. September 4th for lavender. August 21st for cream. August 28th for graphite. August 21st for pistachio. So technically not sold out, but look, maybe they are in the warehouse, but they're still making more in production. They're still being made as we speak. So they're constantly churning them out. So I guess technically it's not sold out. Now they might be at the carriers. Well, they're not going to tell you sold out. It's just going to give you a super backlogged delivery date, right? So I guess technically they could be sold out. They're just giving you an estimated delivery date for when they're going to get new shipments in to ship to you. You see what I'm saying? But let's look at the 512 real quick because I think that's the more popular one, believe it or not. The more expensive, more popular one. Pistachio, the Samsung exclusive color, get it August 21st. Lavender, August 7th. Cream, August 21st. Okay, August 14th. Not that bad. Now, has anybody purchased the 1 terabyte model? Let's see. August 21st, August 7th, August 14th, August 7th. So 2 out of those 4 are backlogged. Interesting. Well, good for Samsung. Look, that might not be the phone for me, but good for Samsung. They need to get back in the game. I'm certainly supporting them regardless of if I like the phone or not, because the better Samsung does, the better we all do. The better Google does with their phones, the better we all do. It's good to see them do good, right? Very good. Now, let me show you this. The Pixelbook. Have y'all seen that? The Google Pixelbook? So we got our first look at what it's going to look like and a surprise device. So let me show you this. What do they call it? Google Book? That's a weird name, no? So look at this. Surprise! We not only have laptops, official photos of laptops, but we also got a tablet. That is badass. So there's been leaked images of Lenovo. So if you're unfamiliar with like what a Google Book is, it's essentially going to be a Google's version of Windows. Now what they're doing is they're merging the Android operating system and Chrome OS into one operating system, and it's going to pair perfectly with your Android phone. You're not just going to have a Pixel phone to pair seamlessly to this Pixel Book. Your Samsung is going to pair like that. Your OnePlus 15, boom, going to pair just like that. Your Motorola Razr Fold, boom, just like that. They're trying to take on Apple's ecosystem, meaning everybody knows how everything just runs more smoothly if you use an iPhone and a MacBook, right? Well, we all know Android's been a little behind, right? Well, they're attempting to try to get on the same level. And this is essentially going to be a MacBook-esque for the Android world. So what they're going to do is just think of it as Windows, because I know there's a lot of questions of, well, are they going to use, is just one manufacturer going to make this, or is there just one CPU? No, it's going to be like a Windows machine where you're going to have Lenovo, Dell, Samsung, Asus, Acer. They're all going to make Pixelbooks, meaning these laptops with this operating system on it. And then not only that, they're going to have different prices, meaning they're going to have bottom of the barrel prices, price starting at $500 or $600, and then they're going to have more expensive ones with more RAM, better processor, more storage that are going to be $2,000, right? $2,500. So it's Android's version of a desktop operating experience. Now you will be able to download and install the entire Google Play App Store. So whatever apps you have on your phone, it'll pair seamlessly to your Google Book. I'm going to get one. And now that I see there's a tablet, I'm starting to think, damn, that one might have my name written all over it. Now, we don't know what the specs are going to be yet. I certainly wouldn't buy, I'll just put it this way. I certainly wouldn't buy a Pixelbook with less than 16 gigs of RAM. In fact, I would try to get a 32 gig of RAM. Now, I know that's probably going to jack the prices up. It should be fine on 16 gigs of RAM, but on a desktop experience, I got to always have more RAM. I'm going to be editing videos. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that on this device specifically, so I'm going to need a lot of RAM. But just the base model, I pray to God that they don't offer an 8 gigabyte of RAM base model. I sincerely hope they just do 16 gigs starting off. And again, I think that'll be okay. I wouldn't use a Windows device with 16 gigs of RAM. I would use this new Android operating system with 16 gigs. I think it'll be fine. But you get to see there is a little surprise there. So if you're a tablet fan, take it with you on the go. Good for a mobile office use. Looks like Lenovo will have an option for you, as well as the laptops. So that's good news. Now, let me show you this. So Do you remember last week when we were discussing the nothing news that they're essentially, hate to say it, but maybe going under and following in the OnePlus footsteps? Here's another sign that it's a real thing. So we got a report a few weeks back, or a couple weeks back, that essentially said the same thing, that not looking good. In fact, they're in big trouble. They're losing money. They're firing half of their workforce. They're closing offices. Sounds like OnePlus. And they're like, geez, man, I can see where this is going now. If we weren't in the Ramageddon times, if this was, let's just take the inflated prices and memory shortage out of the equation, right? And let's just say, when was it before the memory crisis? Probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Let's go 2 years ago. So let's go in reverse, back in time, 2 years ago. If you told me nothing was having problems, I necessarily wouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised because they had momentum. They were making good device after good device. There was demand for their products. And they were relatively fairly priced. You jump forward to today, and I believe 100% that they're in trouble. With the manufacturer cost, the cost of making a phone is so much more expensive. They have to jack the prices up. Well, guess what? That messes up their little niche in the market. They really can't ask $900 for a phone, or even $600 for a mid-range phone. No. There's too much competition out there. There's too many better options. So I think they had a perfect little niche in the market before the Ramageddon memory shortage crisis, where they were perfectly priced. They had a really good niche market, and now this memory thing just jacked everything up. Well, fast forward to today, like I said, they're laying off half of their force. They're closing down offices. Now, they've come out and said, no, it's fake news. That's a lie. But the shutting down thing, and they said with the firing of half their force and the closing down of offices, they said, oh, we're just restructuring. I get it. They're supposed to say that. But over here at eSIM Studios, I like to be honest, right? I'll admit when I'm wrong. Like most YouTubers don't. But I think they're in big trouble. And of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to say, oh, no, nothing to see here. We're just restructuring. Yeah, well, they're still trying to sell phones. They still need to make money. So, of course they're going to say that. But this is not good news. In fact, it looks like they're going to nosedive. Now, they sell other things than phones, though. And I mentioned a week or two ago, what if they just stop selling phones and they just do earbuds, right? What if they just stop? Did that zoom in? Do I have hand controls here? I don't know what's going on. Apparently I zoomed in somehow. I did that last stream. I got a new camera, and I guess I got my hand controls. How do you unzoom it? Ah, there we go. Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I was saying, what if they just stopped selling smartphones and just did audio products? Well, it looks like somebody over there, I guess, watches my channel, because that's exactly what it appears they're going to do. So nothing sounds like they're going to stop selling phones effective immediately. Now, yeah, you can still go buy the Nothing phone in Best Buy. And of course, you can buy the Nothing phone 4A Pro on Amazon. Yeah, they have plenty of phone 4s for sale. But I mean future devices, meaning the phone 4. Their flagship phone they did not put out. Well, guess what? It's never coming out. The phone 5A Pro, it's not coming out. So they're just going to take a pause. And remember, Oppo and Xiaomi considered this coming into this Ramageddon, where the cost of parts is just so expensive. Nobody's going to buy a $2,800 cell phone, a regular candy bar style cell phone. And that's how much it would cost. with these prices just going insane. So they can make money on the mid-range phones because they're not top tier hardware inside there. But Xiaomi and Oppo have said, well, maybe we'll just sell mid-range and budget phones for a couple years until the market dies down, right? Which is a real thing. But it looks like nothing has already made that decision. So it appears nothing is just going to stick to wearables, and that's it. Meaning earbuds, smartwatches, and that's it. So I have no idea if they are going to come back to the phone market. I believe they will, but only if the memory shortage gets back to somewhat of a normal market. Now, again, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I would like to think it would, but experts have said this inflated thing, this inflation when it comes to memory and costs could go into the 2030s. Well, we're not like 2029. We're still in 2026. We're talking about 4, 6, 7 years of this. Well, by that time, I don't know if nothing can come back with a phone. I mean, I'm sure it would make noise and it would make the news, and I'm sure a few people would buy it, including myself. But I don't know if you can recover from that. And that's probably why, that makes sense now. That's probably why they laid off half of their workforce and shut down half of their offices or whatever the numbers were. They're laying off their phone division. The people that R&D, the people that design phones, the people that make phones, the engineers, the software developers. Sorry, we're not going to be putting out any phones for the foreseeable future. So we're going to have to let you go because you have no use here. See what I'm saying? It's just going to be earbuds and wearables. So that would make sense as to why they laid off so many people, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. You hear all these little things, but over time, over a span of 3 or 4 news stories, when you add them up together, it's like, I get it. I see what's going on here. That's exactly what's going on. Now, I don't bring this with joy. All y'all know I love nothing. Like, I've been a huge fan since the very beginning. Me being in business, I understand. I bet Carl Pei that he is. I bet the dude can't sleep. I hate to laugh. God, you talk about stress. I bet that dude is stressed out. Like, it sucks. I wanted them to do so good. And I'm not saying, oh, they're dead, I'm just going to forget about them. But when you exit the phone market, we'll have to see if they can just survive on wearables. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it does suck, doesn't it? Because even if you don't use a nothing phone, you still want them to do good. Even if you don't use a nothing phone, you still need them to succeed. Because they were poking the bear, meaning Apple. Now, obviously not in sales, right? That's literally impossible. But as far as design, right? There were a lot of people that went from a iPhone to a nothing phone. It puts pressure on status quo, right? Where you're just kind of moving forward at a boring pace, really nothing's changing, and then in comes nothing, boom. That's a new company, refreshed, new designs, different style, different look. That's good. That's good for the industry. Now we're not going to have that. That's bad. Because you're going to fall back on not much really growing. Design stagnant. And now with the memory prices, it's going to kind of get stale here. So yeah, it sucks. I would like to see them make a comeback at some point, but is that a reality? I just have no idea. When we will have to see if they can survive just selling wearables. That in itself is going to be a struggle because there's so many companies out here that do that and do it very well. Of course, you got Apple, the AirPods and Apple Watch, which is very popular. You have Samsung, the Galaxy Buds and the Galaxy Watch. And then you have companies like Sony, companies like Beats, like JBL. Like, I think the wearables market is even more crowded and even more competitive than the phone market. I mean, it's just a more crowded industry or niche inside the tech industry. So I hope they do well. I want to see them come back. Yeah, we desperately need more variety. Like we're starving over here. And that's frustrating. And I think it's frustrating for people like Carl Pei, because it's hard to, I mean, it'd be like, for somebody like me, it'd be like my dream thing is to like start a phone company. Holy crap, my head would explode. But that being a real I mean, of course you can start a phone company, but 99% chance it's going to fail. That's just fact. But just to keep that thing going, it's such a hard feat because it is dominated by two players, Samsung and Apple, and that's essentially it. So we need more variety. We need more options. Yeah, it just looks like that. Now, look, nothing has not said anything. Nothing has not made an official statement. But as I mentioned before, like look at OnePlus. All those, it seemed like every month or every 3 weeks we would get a new story about bad news, right? But then if you take a snapshot of 6 months of that bad news, at the very end of that bad news where we officially get the bad news, you go back 6 months and you're like, oh, I see why all those stories came out, right? And of course, there's fake news out there, of course. But if stuff starts to make sense, because remember, nothing said, oh, this is fake news about them. I don't think so. I think it's real news. This stuff is not coming out, on accident. They're following in the same footsteps as OnePlus. And again, that would make sense why they did a lot of job cuts, a lot of layoffs, and they closed down locations around the world. Well, if you're not going to make phones next year, what do you, or for the foreseeable future, what are you going to do? You're going to lay people off and you're going to close shop. That's exactly what happened. So I think this is real news. I don't bring this with any excitement or anything. I'm certainly not happy about this, but it sucks. It really sucks. Please, I have an S25 network carrier lock. Can it be unlocked? I have no idea. Chances are it probably can, but I have no idea what the status is. Is the account paid on? Is it considered lost or stolen? I have no clue. I think so too. I think the Pixel 11 Pro XL is going to be a stunning device. I think it's going to be stunning. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. You'd go with the Oppo X9? Just the regular X9? Not the Ultra or the Pro? I'm never going to get a Pixel until they move the power button on the volume. Oh man, that's one thing that's so I go through a lot of different phones, but again, my Pixel 10 Pro has been in the drawer for the last 6 months. But that's one thing that annoys the hell out of me is the power button placement. I'm always pushing the volume down I'm always pushing the volume down on all other Android phones, and on the Pixel, I'm always pushing the volume up button. You get it. The buttons are inverted. Yeah. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It is a pain in the ass. I wish they would. Man, that's always bothered me. I am in Europe and my mom wants Android phone. She's a very basic user, but wanting good camera and plans to use the phone for 4 to 5 years. Oppo X9 Pro and S26 Ultra are the same price. Which one to buy her? Well, both gonna get updates for that amount of time. That's a good question. Does she take a lot of pictures? If she's a big picture person, I would say go with the Oppo. If she doesn't really take a lot of, take a picture every now and then, grandkids, day at the park, whatever, a picture every now and then, Samsung. But you cannot go wrong with either phone. You cannot go wrong. Now, you're going to get much longer battery life on the Oppo, but you can't beat a Samsung. Now, I typically don't recommend Samsung for, I'm not saying your mom is elderly, but you get the point, right? A lot of people our age and younger can fly through these settings, fly through these phones, change this, change that, blah, 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 in 2 seconds. You get an older person on a phone, they have no clue what they're doing. And to tell them to do something, oh man, you gotta change Wi-Fi networks, or you gotta go to portrait video mode. They have no clue. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost too complicated, too many settings for Samsung. Now, I know there's a ton of settings in Oppo as well, so maybe not a fair comparison. But that's why I always just get my family Pixel devices. All my family members, just get a Pixel, just get a Pixel, just get a Pixel. Simple, easy. But in your case, between those two phones, it just depends. Right? Oppo gets better battery life, takes better pictures. S26 Ultra, you know what you're getting with Samsung. But if they're both official, if you can both get warranties on them, if you can both, put them on insurance over there in Europe, go for the Oppo. I think that's a perfect choice. But like I said, you can't go wrong with either one. Is the 200 limit charging cycles your biggest concern? Yes. Now, that's my number one gripe with Pixel. When they implemented that last year, I said that's it. Now, I didn't believe it at first, because remember that news came out this time last year. And I was like, are they really doing this? Are they really doing this? As I got the Pixel 10 Pro, I was like, well, we'll have to wait and see. And sure enough, after I was like, I think on one day, I knew I was getting close to the 200 charging cycle limit, and I think I was on charge 209. I remember the phone taking forever to charge, and I was like, damn, do I have the wrong plug? Do I have the wrong plug-in over here, or do I have a slow charging cable? Like, I was like scratching my head, like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, the 200 charging cycle limit is real. I went in there and I said 209 charging cycles. Damn, the thing took over 2 hours to charge. 2 hours and, I don't know, 17 minutes. Like, something insane. Like, who's going to do that? I mean, I get it. If you work from home, if you're in the office all day and you're near a plug, I get it. But for me, no, I'm not doing that, right? I'm used to phone. Even the S26 Ultra charges much faster than the S25 Ultra. All my phones here take no longer than 1 hour. The S26 Ultra, I think, is probably my longest charging phone at just right around an hour. Or the iPhone, that thing charges slower than a snail. But all of the majority of my phones take 30 minutes to charge, and I love that. I don't even use wireless charging because I hate the fact it takes so long. That type of stuff really bothers me. We're sending freaking spaceships to Mars, and we're still having our phones take 2 hours to charge. The Xiaomi car, the SU7, a Xiaomi car in China charges completely full. A car in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Why on God's green earth are we having these phones that are a fraction of the size of a car take 2.5 hours to charge? Like, it really bothers me. And everybody's different. May not bother you, and hey, that's cool, but it bothers me. So the only reason why we aren't getting a Pixel 11 is because my wife wants one. Now, we're still going to use our own money and purchase one, so we will be supporting the movement. But but I'm not going to be using it. Now, we haven't heard anything from Google confirming this on the Pixel 11 series, but what I can tell you is from their last statement about a year ago, they don't want you to know this. They do not want you to know this. There's only been one press release in the past 18 months in regards to this. But starting on, was on the Pixel 9a. Yeah, the Pixel 9a came out. So it was the Pixel 9 had full charge, regular charging. The Pixel 9a is when they started the 200 charging cycle limit. And then we're like, what the hell is this? And then as we got closer to the Pixel 10, they confirmed it was going to be on the Pixel 10 series and all future devices. See, I don't care that they do this. I just want them to make it optional. Like, they're doing it to conserve the battery. Well, what if I don't want to conserve the battery? Now, I get it. I'm a small percentage of users, but after 6 months, after 200, put it at 365 charging cycles. Make it optional. Like, there's so many other options they could do that would satisfy the last small percentage of users that this bothers. If you have users like myself that upgrade every single year, every 365 days, why are you gonna limit my charging speeds? Why are you gonna lessen my user experience by putting this stupid 200 charge? Remember, turns out in about 6 months, if you charge your phone one time a day, 200 charging cycles, one cycle per day, essentially 6 months, depending, it could be a little longer, could be a little less, depending on how much you use your phone, how often you charge it. My gripe with them is they're making it mandatory and then putting it at 200 charging cycles. I think they could still achieve their goal of preserving battery life in these batteries, longevity, simply by making it mandatory at 365 charges and then making it optional for all users, whether you want to turn it on charge number 1 or you want to turn it on in your settings in charge number 500. Make it optional, and or if you're going to do it mandatory, at least put it on after 365 charges, or just round it off to 400 charges. Because that's not fair. Like, it really, and trust me, you'll notice it. You'll notice it once you go over 200 charging cycles. And again, I've had people say, oh, you're a liar. Well, I have 300 charging cycles and my battery says it's 100% full. You're a liar. No, actually, you don't understand how the operating system works. It's going to tell you it's 100%. Like when you get past those 200 charging cycles, when you plug your phone in, it's going to show you a full battery. But they're essentially taking your battery and they're cutting 20% of it off. So yeah, you have 100% of that 80% battery. You see what I'm saying? Like if this is a battery, this paper towel roll, and you cut off like 20% of it, like you take this portion off. Well, yeah, if you have a paper towel roll that's this tall up to my hand, if you charge it up to 100%. That's going to be 100% of that battery. They're just eliminating a fifth of that battery right off the top. So of course it's going to tell you your battery is completely full, but it's really not. It's really not, and that's what bothers me. And I don't blame people for calling. I'm used to it at this point, but it's a real thing. They've admitted it. I've made numerous 3 or 4 or 5 videos about this, and I honestly don't like to bring this up because I know a lot of my subscribers have heard me bitch and complain about this thing. So I try to let it breathe and not bring it up too often. As you can tell, it gets me worked up. Like, it really bothers me. It just ruined. And that's why, because I loved using a Pixel so much, it ruined my experience with a Pixel device. And that's why I feel so jaded. I'm like a jaded lover over here. Like, I feel like I've been cheated on or something. It really bothers me. Give me a second. My cat's about to jump on the table. So, yeah, it sucks. OnePlus 16 is confirmed only for China, I think. You are correct. Yeah, the OnePlus 16 is a real thing. It is going to be coming out. It will be, I think, the first smartphone with the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro. It's going to be announced in September. It's going to be released in October, but it's China only. And there's no international model. There's no global model to flash the firmware on. It's going to have the ColorOS China edition on it. And of course, you can buy one if you want to. Please be my guest. It's going to be on Giztop, I'm sure, but I'm not buying it. I'm staying away because the user experience, of course, you can get buy on a Chinese ColorOS ROM, but it's just not the same thing. And if you've never used one, be my guest, buy one, but I'm not like, it's just not, you can tell it's a modified version of Android. Like, even if you change the system language to English, some of the system apps, some of the operating system is still Mandarin. Like, there's no changing it, and it's just not the same. But yeah, you can buy one if you want to. What about a good, cheap international travel phone? If you're well, I think you're in Canada, right? I was going to say you need to get a Pixel with Graphene OS if you're traveling. If I traveled internationally, I would have a travel phone that was running Graphene OS. Now, I think you're in Canada, right? So you really don't have to worry unless you're traveling to the U.S., but they're pulling people aside and swiping your phones. So, me personally, I would use, I would personally use a Pixel with Graphene OS flashed on it because I had a fear of them, skimming your phone. But the Border Patrol, customs. But for you, you're probably gonna want. And then, you know what? That's a good question. The best all-around international travel phone. So here's what you're probably going to need to look into is, and obviously you're probably not going to want to spend top dollar, right? Like, you don't want to have to buy a whole second flagship phone to travel internationally with. So you're probably going to want but I wouldn't necessarily buy a budget phone either because those are no fun. If I were you, I would get a 2 or 3 year old flagship phone where the prices have come down quite a bit. But you're going to want a phone that has a ton of bands in it. Like, that'll get good service anywhere you go. Because you can find phones, but it may not work that good in Indonesia. But it works really good in Australia. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's a really good question. I want to say my first thought is like buy a Pixel 9, right? An unlocked, a Google unlocked Pixel 9. But you would need to give me a day or two to kind of do some research and see, does Motorola unlocked phones have more supported bands than an unlocked Google Pixel? Or what about an S23 Ultra, S24 Plus? You see what I'm saying? Because you want to try to find that sweet spot of a 2 or 3 year old flagship, but you want one that has got a ton of available bands to use, that anywhere you go around the world, it's going to work on a travel sim or whatever, right? So that's a good question. I don't know. Default, I would say Pixel 9, maybe S24 Plus. I don't know. I would think a OnePlus would be perfect as well. Maybe a OnePlus 13, something like that. OnePlus 12, I think would be adequate. Something that still gets updates. Something that has decent security. Now, the most secure phone right now, Android phone or phone period, is probably the Pixel. with their with their Titan security chip. But I would need that would be my default phone as a Pixel 9. But you would need to look into the bands. Does it support all worldwide bands? Or, some countries support more than others, or have the use of more than others, should I say. So, yeah, I don't know. Your OnePlus 15 is at 86 charging cycles after over 7 months of use. Check this out. Mine's on 29. You see it right. Damn, right there. 29. Good battery. That's another thing about travel phone. You want a phone that has tremendous battery life. What about the OnePlus 13R? Doesn't that have like a 7,000 milliampere hour battery? That would be dope. Yeah, you might want to consider one of those. Now, they still get security updates. They should be up to date on security. That's a real thing too, is battery life. You got to worry about traveling. Nobody wants to be. You want to travel. You want to get out. You want to explore. You don't want to be stuck next to a stupid cord, right? Cable, charging your phone all the time. You watching this on your OnePlus 15? Oh, sweet. Did you get the black one or did you get the sandstone? I'm really glad you like it. It's speaking of nothing with them essentially not selling phones moving forward. It really sucks. It really hurts with OnePlus because they hold a little piece of my heart. As corny as it sounds, they make great phones, and the battery life is like the number one thing I love about them. You can go 2.5 days on a charge. Like, it's unheard of. Just a fantastic device. God, they went out with a bang. Now, I know the OnePlus 16 is coming out, but it looks just like a OnePlus 15. But the OnePlus 15 was our last hurrah with them. Well, I'm glad you got one. I'm really excited that you like it. You're switching to Oppo Global moving forward, close enough to OnePlus. They certainly are. That's what I'm going to do. I'm for sure getting the Oppo Find X10 Pro Max. Because remember, the X10 Pro is going to be a smaller 6.3 inch phone. Remember the X9 Pro was like the size of a OnePlus 15? Well, now the Pro of the X10 is going to be a small model, and the Pro Max is going to be what we're used to, a 6.7 inch display. Now that's getting, what? It's going to be insane with the cameras. I think it's getting 3 200 megapixel sensors on the back and a 100 megapixel sensor on the front. So it's getting, just insane on the cameras. So I think I'm going to import me one as well. You're in Canada, yeah. You're probably okay without Graphene OS, but if you're an international traveler inside the US, definitely think about getting a Graphene OS. What's special about OnePlus? Wait, what's up with this? There we go. What's special about Graphene OS? It's unhackable. It's unhackable. So again, not saying if you have one, you're hiding stuff, but if you just don't want the government all up in your business, get a Graphene OS, and you're gonna have to flash it on a Pixel. Now remember, Motorola's Graphene OS is coming out with their own phone, so it's going to be Motorola hardware, Graphene OS software. They said it's supposed to come out at some point in 2026. I don't know if that's a real thing. Probably, I would bet 2027, just with the way cost, suppliers, but teaming up with a worldwide manufacturer certainly helps, because they can, help with little stuff like that. It's unhackable. The government can't even get into it. So it's a fantastic option. And I did a story on this dude that the government singled. So I think he went to the Dominican Republic. He's from the U.S., went to the Dominican Republic on a vacation. When he was flying back to the U.S., the U.S. Border and Customs pulled him to the side. Now, they had their eye on him because he is a protester. He was protesting this something called Cop City, like some new training facility, police training facility in his local area that they were going to put like in the middle of some residential area. They were cutting down. They were converting a park into a police training station, and he protested like he has the right to do that. But he got on their radar for some reason, and I think he was a journalist, protester, one of those people that just pokes the government in the side with a thorn. They hate people that do that. So he was on their radar. He flew back in the U.S. Now, being a smart man he had Graphene OS on his Pixel, because I'm sure he's been messed with before. And when he got back into the U.S., they pulled him to the side. They asked him for his phone. Now, they didn't read him his Miranda rights. They didn't even have a warrant to search his phone, but they demanded his phone. He denied at first a few times. They said, fine, here's my phone. He remembered he was good with Graphene OS. That's all it was. And then they asked him for his PIN. He gave them the erase PIN, not his PIN code to unlock it, but the PIN code to erase it. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let me put your code in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, boom, boom. It flashed and nothing. And they got so pissed off at him. The Department of Justice is charging him with a federal crime. This is a felony offense, tampering with evidence. I'm sure he'll get that. It's technically if they didn't have a warrant, which it doesn't look like they did, if they didn't read him his Miranda rights, which he's saying they didn't, and then they didn't have any reason to search his phone. So I think it'll get thrown out of court, but just the fact that the government is pushing this on him is a complete pile of shit. Like, it should enrage everybody, because regardless if you're on the right or the left or in the middle, you might not give it much thought, but when it happens to you, trust me, you're going to be enraged. You're going to feel like your privacy has been invaded. They're going to be messing with you nonstop, and for nothing. Like, really, like, I'm just exercising my rights that the Constitution says that I have, and you're going to start doing this to me. So, I will. You can look back on my YouTube channel. It's, I think, a couple videos back. You take a look at it. It's interesting. Used Samsungs are dirt cheap. It depends. Now with the memory prices the way that they are, the used phone market has kept its value pretty well, pretty well. But it depends on condition, depends on how old it is, and all that stuff. But I get your point. Look, I'm in favor of buying used before new at any time. So you think Samsung does? Probably right. But again, I'm going to do that on probably over the weekend, is dive into this, because this is something that I've never looked into. So yeah, I'm going to look and see this weekend, like, if you want to travel international, what's the best? Because I've lived out of the country, but that was, I lived 3 years in the Caribbean, but that was in, right when I got out of college. So like 2007 to 2010 or 2006 to 2010, I lived outside the country, but that's when like smartphones were, did he even have just a regular phone. It wasn't a smartphone, so that really wasn't a thing, right? I'll look into that over the weekend. But yeah, that's a good, interesting topic to dive into. 13R that's a good phone. You want a good battery life phone. Good battery life, a lot of bands. Let's see. When did you buy your OnePlus 15 with 29 charging cycles? No, it's not 7 months old. It's not 7 months old. Certainly not. It's basically new. I got it new. Yo, what is up with this restream? It's not pulling up. There we go. These comments. Got the black one. Couldn't get the sandstone. They were out of stock. Either way, I've had 2 black ones. Awesome. In fact, they're a little more durable. The black ones actually, I think on the back of the sandstone, it's plastic or something like that. I don't care, but black is badass. I don't think you can go wrong with either color. The Pro X10 is smaller. Interesting. Yeah, they're changing their naming scheme this year like every other tech company does. I don't know why this is the thing. It just confuses everybody. So you're going to have an X10, which is going to be like 6.2 or 6.3. You have the X10 Pro, which is a 6.4-inch display. And then an X10 Pro Max. That Pro Max is going to take the place of the X9 Pro last year. So the X10 Pro Max is going to be a 6.7-inch display. I don't know why they do these things, but can't make up their minds. Appreciate the time. I got to run. I got some errands to run this afternoon, so I do appreciate the time. Again, sorry for being gone for the last few days. I've been trying to get some work done in the background, but I'm gonna run. We did not do a giveaway today or this week at all. So if you're watching this, I'm going to schedule a giveaway live stream tomorrow. If you want your chance to win some money, join us tomorrow. Now, this is going to be on YouTube only, not on TikTok, because I got to do my giveaway tool on StreamYard. StreamYard doesn't stream to TikTok. I have to use Restream. So that's why I didn't do a giveaway today, but I am going to do a giveaway tomorrow on YouTube. It'll be right around the same time. I'll do right around 3 or 4 Central Standard Time tomorrow. Giveaway. Might even do 2. So join me tomorrow. I really, really appreciate your time. Please have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Please be safe. Take care. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out. I know I just got to figure out how to end the stream. I don't even know how to do that. This new, I'm not a really big fan of this new software. How do you end this? What the hell is going on? Got it. All right. I'm out. Peace.